Alright, hello folks. Welcome to the latest Debuff the Star Citizen report. Thamin over here, and Memo's gone this weekend, so I have a returning guest host over here.
Hi, I'm Woopnyo. How you doing?
Alrighty. And going to talk, most of our show is going to be concerned about the dogfighting streamcast that was last week. There was a lot of new info on that, and folks got to sample what that was like. And as well as, of course, always various bits of news from not only Wingman's Hangar, but a new thing they've been doing, 10 from the chairman. So Chris Roberts himself has been answering some subscriber questions. All right. And I'm going to say, too, I think a fun thing I'll share out here, I'm going to throw up a picture. One of those most valuable posts that came out recently. I'm going to throw up this picture of the Banu merchant ship that we've had in the past. And I was surprised to hear on one of the Wingman's hangars that there was one of the most valuable posts was a 47-page argument on where the front of that ship was. I mean, I kind of figured where the front of that ship was, but apparently it was very open to debate.
Wow, yeah, I would think it'd be more like a Star Destroyer, but obviously I could be wrong. All the communications can be on the top or the bottom, but that could be any kind of landing party. I would think to the right is the front.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking, and that's what folks seem to have finally agreed on. For those thrusters in the back. So yeah, I don't know where folks got confused. It'll be interesting too. For all we know, somebody at SIG might mess up and accidentally throw like an upside down picture at us or something.
That's actually just one of the wings, yeah. The real ship is on the other side.
And
It
so,
does look pretty cool, though.
all right. So yeah, I had to go over that. I tell you, I was very excited to catch some of the dogfighting stream that was last week when I could. You know, work intervened as well, so luckily I was able to catch some of it from other video sources later on.
We're all able to see it afterwards, right?
Yeah. So, and I thought, folks, you know, if you're interested, we'd kind of start showing that as well too, and just kind of like throw in a bit our own commentaries on it. I've got a few things queued up. Just the dogfighting portion of it was about 50 minutes, and it got to a point near the end of the dogfighting where they were supposed to be at their 2-hour mark for the entire broadcast, and then somebody talked Chris Roberts into getting on the controller too and joining in the dogfight. Well, that stretched out a good amount of time. That's a good way to get him to stretch out his live stream. Get him on the computer playing as well.
Well, if he's putting his name to the product, he might as well play it too.
So yeah, everyone got to see him do that, and we got to see. Well, I was thinking of commenting beforehand, but I suppose we'll get to that point when I get in on the video here. Let me go ahead. Yeah, a certain phone I should have probably put on mute, but no one ever calls me at this time. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and pick up on part of the dogfighting stream here.
Here in LA. So I'm right now for dogfighting. I'm actually working on quite a bit of stuff with the
I thought it was interesting. This guy discusses a lot of stuff that he's working
like
on.
The asteroids, setting up the levels. Been working with a bunch of other people on like the particle effects, setting up the vehicle setup. Basically, I've touched.
And he's going to show some visual candy here too, so that's what I tried to landmark on.
I'm just going to be showing off a little bit here of like the Hornet destruction, what we currently have set up. So on my weapon mount here that I got, I'm actually going to be shooting at the wing. We got some sparks from the hit impacts, and you can see here where I'm actually blowing up parts of the wing. We got little jibs flying off from the stresses that are going to be.
I'm going to mute myself and leave you all the video for just a sec here.
So it's actually going to be localized to where you're actually hitting on the ship. So these different panels are actually going to be blowing off, and when you're actually shooting at the wings here, you'll blow off like parts of the ship. You'll lose your weapons here. You can see that one flying away here. And then you can actually completely like disassemble the actual vehicle entirely. And we're going to be doing this for all these different parts actually.
Chris Smith. I'm the lead ship modeler here at Cloud
And that's just a
Steering.
taste of some of the destruction they're
And
going to
I'm
show
gonna talk a
later,
little
so I
bit
thought
about
that was
the
interesting.
destruction pieces.
I really like the way they
how
start
we
blowing
make
off
them.
pieces and chunks, and like he
What I
says,
came up
gibs of
with
the
was
actual
a,
piece of
a
ship.
sort of
That's pretty awesome.
kit bash design.
I can't wait to see how it actually affects the physics while you're
that I
flying
use
through
all
space.
over the
If you
place
can
on
be
the
a
ship
derelict
to make
cruiser
it
like
quick
that,
and-
just have the escape
and,
pod or
and
something.
efficient
That's
and
gonna be really
easy to
cool.
make. So kit bashing is like
Yeah,
when
and they
we,
did answer on
uh,
Women's Hangar.
from
Someone
real life,
asked if the
modeling,
thrusters
we
start getting
take
blown off,
existing
if the
pieces
computer will
from
help,
other models
or if you have to do it
and put
yourself.
them together to
And they
make
did
a
answer
new
the
piece,
computer will be able
make
to
a new
help
model.
up to a
This is the
point,
tail wing.
and then you start to
specifically.
even notice it more.
You know, we're kind of breaking them up by section.
Well, you got to
These
be
are
able
all
to
the
destroy
different damage
something.
states
You
that
can't
we're
just have
doing,
a solid
the
piece of
first
mass and
damage state
putting
will
so
be
many
like
bullet
real low,
holes
you know,
and
just
rockets into
panels
it.
flying off.
There's got to be some kind
And then the
of
next
change in
stage,
it. This kind of
you know, a
fidelity
little
in
bit
this
bigger
kind of
piece
game
will
is just
fall off,
unheard of.
and so on.
That
You know,
looks just
until
so
basically
awesome.
the whole thing just comes off and it's just a burning wreck.
So
Yeah, I
what
was
we
glad
had
to see
before
where
was more
even,
of a style guide for how we were going to
Even
have
early
the
on, they
HUD
kind of
look, but we
broadcast
didn't really
that
have a
these
functional
ships in the
design of
Crisis
what was
engine,
going to
they
be on
can
there
blow
and
them
where.
apart all to their little
So
pieces.
what we did in this meeting was mostly hammer out what we're actually going to show and when and on
There's
which
also
display.
another game that it
And
reminds
so
me
that
of. I think it's
informs what I'm doing and what sort of
Tom Clancy Ghost
inputs I
Recon
need to
Online or
program
Ghost
for the
Warfare
HUD.
Online,
So now that we
where you can
actually
customize
have
your
a
weapons
early
right
version
down
of
to
the
which screws
dogfighting
go
module
where.
working, and everyone
You
can
have
actually fly
a
the
regular
ships
view of the
and starting
weapon,
to
and then
get
when you
actual
select certain parts of it,
feedback
it gives you an
on
exploded
what's
view.
useful and
Like you
what's
can change out
not,
the
what's in the
triggers,
wrong
different
place,
barrels, different
what's
sights,
unintuitive,
it's all
what's
different clips,
intuitive.
things like
Hi,
that.
I'm Alan
When you're able to
Cooper.
do
I'm the
that in
senior
this kind
writer
of
and
game, that's
senior
awesome.
artist here at
I
Cloud
could
Imperium
pull out
Games.
one
We've been
wing,
working
put
for
in
the
another
past couple of
one,
weeks
attach
on
a
the
different kind of
dogfighting
weapon to
module,
it. It's awesome. I'd do
specifically
that.
riding the Hornet. What I do is I often will sit right where the pilot sits,
Okay.
where the player is going to
And
sit.
I'm going to
And I'll
jump
keep looking
forward
around going,
just a
okay,
little
I like
bit
that,
here.
I don't like that, and I keep moving the camera back.
Because,
and
of course,
forth to
this
try
is
to
a very
see
long
where the light is falling, what
segment.
sort of bad
concentrating
I'm going to talk
on
a bit into
special
the
effects.
some of the special effects. There's some pretty cool views with this guy
explosions,
here.
muzzle flashes, when all the damage states switch, having sparks and fire and stuff happening when things are spinning around, flying around.
I like how the engine
trails.
moves on this scene.
Currently, we just had a new tool made that allows us to do volume particles, and that means instead of our explosions just being kind of flat images, we now have volumes that can be rendered and created, so it has much more of kind of this fireball type effect when the explosion happens, as long as along with the debris that kind of shoots out.
And we'll see that during the dogfighting too.
And
So
then
the ships
also
just blow every
in the
direction.
dogfighting level, we have
Pieces
like
floating
an
in
asteroid
space.
field and a lot of space dust that surrounds and is inside the asteroid field. And for that, we actually use volume particles, which is also a 3D particle. That's very different and new, and that allows us to get these nice, dense looking areas actually through particles. So probably my favorite thing that is being worked on right now is the shields.
I want to see how the
So we now have
other engines,
the ability to
ones that make you turn
be very
faster. One of
flexible
the other ships
tool
they were
to
talking about,
create a lot
the
of
rocket
different
boosters, make you
shields and a lot of
make
control
90-degree turns.
shields.
I want to see how that turns out as well. Because
A lot
you
of
can
times,
see that they can make a straight
just
line, and you know, you can have it move at a certain point. But if you can get your entire ship to move 90 degrees, that's awesome.
And just dialing
Like, oh, no,
down
a rocket!
settings
Nope.
using,
Yeah.
Just a juke to the left.
damage from like zero.
Now I'm going to jump quite a bit here to where they actually did
Charging
start
this,
up in
I'm
the
not charging this, I'm
dogfighting.
just kind of creating this kind of very procedural looking effect.
And at first, not to throw anyone off, a good part of this broadcast did have no sound. There were the occasional glitches and issues, and you know, Chris Roberts came back to say this is why you're not playing the dogfighting module yet.
I think they did the same thing in SOTOR. They didn't have any sound in the beta.
And there we saw like the first ship getting blown up with this. Again, this HUD that they're using now is a little stand-in. It seems it's different than the one that they were just talking about.
It seems to change on different ships and different weapons. Like if you can see the one's offset just to the right, that's where like 4 cannons are firing to, and then you got the 2 side cannons on the wingtips.
Yeah.
But you're also seeing it's a little bit more fluid movement and where he's aiming and things. So at times it gets a little bit jumpy, like he's using a mouse.
You got to see him. So, as y'all noticed too, they've said, you know, this third-person perspective is available. Of course, now we got the volume.
I think that's hard to aim. Need some kind of crosshair for that. I can't do that. And then you have all the debris fly out. That's just awesome. It's
Yeah.
great.
I remember early on where they said, like I said, they could tear apart the ships. Seems like one of the things that might be slightly holding things up for them is now they're trying to artistically make the models, the textures, so that it reflects that damage as it's coming off and such.
It's also nice to see the physics actually work in the game. The collision detecting is awesome. If you watch the ship at the bottom, like, it keeps running into asteroids, just little tiny ones, even big ones in front of them.
Yeah, this does make for an interesting firefight. A few major asteroids there, as well as a bunch of tiny ones that they can fly into while they're dueling here.
Threading the needle.
And they do show that one asteroid with the big hole in the middle. And they do some stunt flying through that. I saw it during parts of this video. Well, actually there, on the upper right. I think he's headed for it now. Yeah. Made it through. So these guys here, and they did say, you know, folks will get used to this at first because eventually they said the idea is folks will only be flying the ships that they've already bought and have in their hangar. However, at the start, there will only be a few ships available, so everyone's going to get a Hornet in their hangar to start with and fly that in the dogfighting mode. And they're eventually going to be adding new ships as they get them finished. So we'll see the Auroras in there, the 300s, and we'll be dueling with those too.
I'd like to try out the different betas and the different ships, see how well they fly, and if their power plant works well, and shield systems, just to get a good balance for it. It also gives us a chance to learn how to fly in groups and squadrons compared to Squadron 42. We're just going to be following a scripted path.
And that gives a big thing too. Yeah, even, you know, Arlia was saying that's going to be key too for folks to kind of learn a bit more of flying in formation. We don't know where, like, we don't know if you can, like, set something and even a human player will tell the ship, okay, follow this formation of the guy in the lead, and then you can break off at any time. I guess we have yet to see on some of that.
I don't understand how that would work well. You'd have to have the computer take over navigation for a while.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm thinking. But you could, I mean, it would be the equivalent of, say, an auto-follow in other games.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay, yeah, I could see that. Bring up like a Delta wing or something like that, and everybody just flying the same thing, have it set to the same... It's not near as much fun, but yeah, you could do that.
So you see, too, on some of these, it's kind of hard to see, but sometimes when you get in these third-person views, too, you can see their wings missing and such.
Like all the different cannons firing, there's blue, red, green everywhere. Like, just know what each one of them does, and that guy gets hit, and there's just sparks and flame go out. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. And of course, when we do get to play the dogfight, I mean, everyone's reminded it's alpha. They're going to be balancing stuff. They said even when they were working on the dogfighter to present, at first the weapons weren't doing enough damage. No one was getting killed. And so they tweaked it, of course, in order to make this look more entertaining for the broadcast. But everyone's got to remember, it is going to be alpha. It's going to be a work in progress.
Yeah, work in progress means work still has to be done. You have to let it go.
Yeah.
Nothing's perfect.
Just kind of sadly that we're still going to be looking at over a year before this gets to anything of a polished state.
It looks pretty polished now. They just need to get it all worked together. That's all. I mean, right now as it stands, it looks awesome. We all want to play it.
Yeah, see, I'm going to find this enjoyable when I can get my hands on it.
Gonna need to get a new joystick for it.
Yeah, and I have a HOTAS flight stick down here, which I'll be trying out. At one point coming up here, they show Chris Roberts, they talk him into taking the chair, and he grabs something that looks like an Xbox controller. Alright.
I prefer...
go
ahead. I prefer keyboard and mouse, but this kind of game, I gotta have a joystick. I grew up on TIE Fighter and X-Wing, TIE Fighter versus X-Wing, and if you guys remember, TIE Fighter had a button to match the speed of the ship that you were attached to targeting, so that way you can make the turns and at the same speed that they were. And it was easier for me to target the enemy that way, and they all flew in their predetermined paths or whatever. But when you're flying against other human players, you never really know what they're going to do. So you have to, you got to aim ahead of time, but you know that they're going to move before you get there. So just that kind of joystick. I don't know how you do it on an Xbox. You got to do it on a regular joystick for me.
I know, and I have my issues with an Xbox too. But some people did wonder about if they'll support one, and they didn't give anything official. But we've seen Chris Roberts using it before, so it'll be there. I'm going to move you guys up to, this was an even better video of them shooting up a Hornet. We'll see the pieces fly off, eventually shoot whole chunks of the Hornet off.
Is that the one with the gun turret on top, or is that the Ghost?
It's the gun turret on top. So it looks like
Cool.
a Super Hornet he's beating up.
I like the different variations. How there's one that's tracking and there's one that's hiding the whole time. That's pretty cool. And this one has more firepower because there's more turrets on it.
Yeah, and I don't think we covered, but yeah, folks were told only one upgrade per ship, so you can't like take two upgrades and attach it to the same ship. Yeah, here they just totally blow up the rest of it. And I'll just leave this running because very shortly they show an even better. They even do a better look at shooting up the shields. So they give you all that visual representation too to kind of get an idea. Even if you are shooting through shields, or if the guy's shields are down and he's actually taking pieces of the ship off.
All that's left is the donut in the middle.
Of course, everyone will be able to test too. They're using that weapon mount that they're shooting up the Hornet with. Now everyone's got a firing range in their hangar. It's got its set of bugs, though. We found out there's a lot of weapons that don't actually fit into the weapon mount. So again, alpha.
Yes.
Report the bugs. We'll get it polished and working. Let's see. They're going to go and kind of go back to it now and show the shield view.
I'm not sure if I like the colors when the shield comes up, when you hit it with the different projectiles and stuff like that. I understand that they need something to represent it being hit by something, but the blue and the yellow.
Yeah. It did say
It's
that
good
it would
that
change color. I wonder if that's something maybe you'll be able to modify eventually.
Maybe. You should be able to change blaster color. Why not your shield color?
Yeah.
It does look pretty cool. You get the little water effects. The weaker parts becoming yellow. That I do like how it does change, and how each section has its own amount of shielding too. So if you're always blasting the same area, it's going to go through the shield a lot faster than it is if you're just doing an all-around attack.
Mm-hmm. And that makes sense to me too. Yeah, he's really drilling through it there. I do know that as far as weapons, customization may not be too much of an option. Supposedly, the weapons are going to be different, so that when you see a bolt fly past your cockpit, or through your cockpit, as I started to say, you may have an idea what exact weapon that was, if you're familiar with it.
Well, that all starts with sound from a distance and light. See what's traveling at you. You get that the more you get shot at, which not the best idea, but whatever.
Yep. Now I'm also going to jump even a little farther in here. Now this was about the time that the live stream was supposed to be over. We were approaching that 2-hour mark. And then as he's asking for questions, they're like, "Let's see Chris play."
Is that the
So,
part where he's flying on the bottom?
yep.
Or is he? Yeah.
And so, as you can see, they talk about controller in there. It shows him he's got a Xbox controller. Or it could be PlayStation. You know, from this point, I can't tell. I think it's Xbox.
Well, if they're playing on PC, it can be anything. It could even be Mad Cats.
Yeah. And see, they gave him a ship with no wings and just one gun left. Or maybe yeah.
It's alright, it'll explode and respawn. It'll be fine.
Of course, on this, I was kind of hoping to see Chris Roberts just kind of whale through them, but he spent quite a bit of time here actually just trying to find them where they were at, but flying around in third person too and check things out.
I did like how he was able to change cameras and look over the canopy shot for the turret.
Yeah, I think that's always necessary for a lot of things too.
Well, the Hornet's supposed to be a 2-player ship,
Yeah.
so another person can get it up there, but it's nice to be able to see what they're aiming at, or even see where they're looking.
All right. I do remember, once upon a time there was that Battlefield 1942, 1943 when those games came out, and you might have had one person driving, one person gunning, and things worked smooth. They worked great. And a lot of these games since, I just really haven't seen that cohesion between a pilot and a gunner. So I'm certainly hoping, and I guess we'll see how this is, when we do start it, if we can get like a co-pilot in our ship for the dogfighting.
Well, they were talking about that earlier on in one of the stretch goals. Let me look it up real quick. Nope. They were talking about, there we go, 26 million enhanced capital ship systems. You're able to do team fire repair and key repair systems during battle. Different capital ship functions. Now, this reminds me of a game called Artemis. You're actually able to be different parts of the ship. One person's the pilot, one person takes care of weapons, one person takes care of science, one person does communication, stuff like that. I don't want to have one person flying and 9 people shooting. That'd be so boring. I mean, there's a point to it, there's a use for it, but when you have something other than that to do, it makes it much more immersive.
Now, it does make me wonder what we'll see when we see big ships like the Idris roll in and that. Is, they've said there'll be stuff for other players to do. Certainly, hopefully, they can make it entertaining, because you could spend a long time waiting for a little action, or hoping someone will board your ship so you can get up and start shooting something.
Oh, I'm a dire luck cruiser. Please don't hurt me. Ha ha!
Right. Alrighty. So I hope everyone liked me trying to hit as many highlights as I could there. As that was just the dogfighting portion, like I say, went 52 minutes. The whole stream went closer to 2.5 hours. So, but I was just really glad for that first look at it. And eventually, the dogfighting module is going to be it's going to be your video game inside the hangar, where you can safely have those battles and enjoy them.
It's nice to see that kind of it's nice to see the starships and stuff. Before they showed that video of the other star battles going on, and the ships were turning on a dime, and there's all third person, all fighting outside the capital ship. It's nice to see how it actually is going to work.
Yeah. Sorry, my it's almost 4-year-old now, kind of trying to peek in there. Ever since I got the camera and they can see themselves on the TV, it's a fun toy. All right, so a few things, kind of, from other news around here.
It's okay. Relax.
Yeah. It's trying to stream, so it looks like it's going to try to go back. I'm worried hopefully it didn't lose the first part. Alright folks, see if we can rejoin you again. This is same issue we actually had last broadcast, about a half hour in. Twitch started giving us some problems. Alright, we do seem to be back.
Yeah.
Well, I'll try to cut the rest of this short as I can, because usually once that starts happening, who knows how much longer the show is going to last here. So I'll try to whip through some news announcements, and Woopnyo, feel free to just throw in comments whenever you want. Like I say, it's a new hangar. We've got our firing range. Buggy, report your bugs, and we'll get it all working for everybody. I noticed, this is my time to get this in, one big bug I saw for folks with constellations is that they were getting locked in their bathroom. Now, Memo has a constellation, and I have not seen him since that came out.
That makes sense. That does make sense.
Coincidence? Maybe. But yes, hopefully they're working on that. Someone may need to check on them. They're still working on when other folks may visit your hangar. It should happen relatively soon. That was their quote, relatively soon. Right now they have no problem expanding the hangar in one direction. For some of the other stuff they want to add on, they got expanded in the other direction as well. So, of course, your largest ships, your Idris and such, won't be parked in a hangar. They'll have to park in orbit. It sounds like there will be real estate that you can buy or work towards in the game, and it may include windows or differences in your hangar space.
So like different hangar depots or something like that? You're
So it
going to buy
sounds like.
various? Okay.
Well, they even made kind of a roundabout hint that you can buy shop space. I think this was more on the hangar, but it sounds like maybe some player businesses can have some real estate in the game.
Well,
As-
yeah, you
as
got to
well
sell
as-
yourself somewhere.
Yeah, as well
Well,
as
things
maybe
on the market.
Yeah. Plus, I think maybe there is something that can be fancier for the hangar than what we're already seeing. Who knows? Might hook onto a penthouse or something.
That'd be awesome.
I'd like that.
Need an escalator.
There we go. And then people be falling off the escalator till we work out that alpha bug. They're getting sucked under
I just
the
said
stairs.
put it on the other end of the fire range, dude. It's over alright.
All right, let's see. Now they have showed too where a lot of us can now see our upgraded ships on the hangar. Originally, you couldn't attach the upgrade to it, but now we can see it. And again, folks, report your bugs. I was in there, found a visual glitch that was weird as soon as I saw my Super Hornet. So of course, just report, give them details, and hopefully we'll get past that. The next great starship, 138 teams working for that prize.
It looks awesome. I'd love to see what they turn out.
Yeah, I'd love to see probably any of the finalists just to see what new ideas might have been out there.
Just any of the concepts. That'd be awesome. I mean, you see the different ones that they have at different car shows. You see the concept car, like the Prowler was a concept, and that looked pretty weird, but it went into their whole HHR, that kind of thing for the Chevys. It's cool to see how one idea evolves into another one. Like I'm sure the Idris just wasn't a big monstrous ship with those little icicle things hanging off of it at one point. Start off with a line or something. It's pretty cool how you can see something change from one, and then the next section gets to here. The next one looks even better. That's great.
I was liking how those things looked. Hey, I'll just mention, folks, too, it is over a half hour in, and we're just on various news. If Twitch drops me again like it has been, we won't come back. We'll leave it at that. If I don't get through all this, remember, I think the Grievance Gamer Girls are on later tonight, too. I know they're meeting. I think they were Twitch broadcasting maybe in a couple hours here. But I might be remembering the boards wrong. But I think the Gamer Girls are on later. So, yeah, I'll check in on that. Okay, a few other things. December 28th, the Austin office is moving. So, some changes there. You can understand where maybe there won't be too much productivity going on right there now between the holidays and moving. But when they get in their bigger office, the staff is really going to explode, and they'll be working on it. Here we go. Just about every system in a ship can be overclocked, but that also means overheating and a bigger radar signature. But it sounds like there are multiple ways that are being developed that you can try to cloak your ship's heat signature, from hiding it to reflecting it or using some kind of barriers. So it sounds like there might be all sorts of just technical details in the game might throw at you there that will be fun to mess with.
That reminds me a lot of the Drake Herald. I'd like to see how that comes into effect with it. I was playing a game called like Delta Alpha or something like that, where your ship, you were able to smuggle ship components or contraband or stuff, and you had to get scanned before you docked. So this Drake Herald would help you stop getting scanned, or it would covertly camouflage it from the scanner. You can sneak by stuff. That was awesome. Or you could use it in a military stand where the enemy doesn't know exactly how many ships you have. Oh, look, you just have the Merlin thing. Oh no, you have 4 Idrises. Ah.
Let's see how they do that too, because they already did hint also that there might be inspection stations next to certain jump points.
Mm-hmm.
So that does give the smugglers and pirates, some challenges right there.
Well, it gives them advantages and disadvantages because we're going to use the same thing against them. So.
Yeah. Let's see. They did kind of hint right now that high-end PCs today may be minimum specs when the game releases. So that's their best general, guide to kind of give you as far as where we stand on that. They are building it for a 2015 computer.
I'm all for that.
Yeah.
I just upgraded my GTX 760 because my wife is awesome.
There you go. I am definitely going to need a new computer before it comes out. This one's been like patched together and repatched, and it was cheap to start with just because a virus attacked the old one, and
it's a Frank computer.
What
I
could available. They talked about a distortion cannon. It's the first I heard of it on Wingman's Hangar. A weapon meant to reduce energy flowing through a target rather than attack a specific system. And
That reminds me a lot of the.
Yeah.
That reminds me a lot of the ion cannon, where it hits the shields and does more energy damage to the shield than it would to the hull of the ship. The idea here is to disperse energy like an EMP and turn off the shields first in an area, and then move on to the parts of the ship itself, the life support, shield generator, and your steering. It'd be awesome if you were stuck turning left the whole time.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty good. Not only as just a alternate weapon that can be used, but as an alternate means of teamwork. If you got more than one ship going after a guy and have one person loaded with those kind of weapons,
takes down your shields and takes down all of your abilities, and the other one just blows you away.
Yeah. So there may be a cataclysmic events happening in the universe, though generally with some forewarning. And I remember on Wingman's Hangar they kind of made the joke, when the scientists are rushing in, you may want to get out of there.
Sounds a lot like a black hole is opening.
Yeah.
No thanks.
And they did kind of mention this after the poll they made, and folks wanted a black hole event horizon, that kind of thing. So it's part of that discussion.
Well, that's also coming up in I think that's 36 million. Yeah, the black hole events horizon and the Cthulhian world. Yeah, it sounds pretty cool.
Yeah. I know I've flown into one in some game, whether it was a Wing Commander or something, and it was awesome because I flew close enough you couldn't even see the stars, and the only indication you had was really your speedometer that you were still drifting towards something. And of course got to the point where I couldn't pull away from it. Had to try it once. Okay, they have said as far as single-player experiences like Squadron 42, there will be additional experiences planned for the future. Now, what gets me is they said hopefully even weekly updates. That sounds like a tall order. Mm-hmm. But I do like the sound of it.
Weekly updates can mean anything, though. In any other MMO in the world, they create new content and they put it out there, just small little patches. So you probably just get little things to help you along the way.
Yeah.
But then a real content, like a new place to go or a new campaign mission, something like that. But that wouldn't be like any 3 months or so. It'd be a longer interval.
It makes me wonder too what'll be like the rewards associated with those single player campaigns.
I think the biggest reward is learning how to fly.
Yeah. Actually, that melds right into the next thing I was going to bring up. Folks, there was now Chris Roberts was personally answering some of these questions. Now he's doing this 10 for the chairman, and he had a lengthy discussion on pitch, yaw, roll, which is a little too long for me to try to sum up. If you go to Wingman's Hangar 48, 30 minutes in, that's where the discussion is. It'd be a little confusing for me to try to translate. Better to go right to that point.
Pitch, yaw, roll.
I think it was coming up because, people were trying to figure, would you just turn right or left, or would you, like a fighter pilot in atmosphere, bank and then pull back on the stick to do like a quick turn? So
There's no gravity. There's no air. You got to rely on your thrusters.
yeah. But let's see. He did explain the PvP slider in more detail. You can't change it while you're flying. Some places it will try to match your skill. Other places, whoever shows up might just be whoever happened to be near. But they did say it could make a difference between whether you run into a computer pirate or a player pirate. So, but he did say there are also going to be parts of space where it's dangerous and there's no holds barred. So it doesn't sound like what your slider is going to be on. They will put some good rewards in the most dangerous areas.
Risk reward, totally for that.
Oh, they did say one more thing, and we're kind of coming to the end here. Yeah, we're kind of coming to the end here, and this sums it up. Folks asked about your missile loadout in dogfighting, and although you can't reload in space, you can adjust your loadout in the hangar. To me, that sounds like missiles are going to be pretty powerful in the dogfighter. I mean, if you don't have the cost associated with them, and they're pretty damaging, I can see them being used a lot.
They got to have a certain cost for the thing, but for the amount of damage they're going to do, it's going to be worth it.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to have them anyways. You might as well be stocked up.
That's something that's like, grab them, have them on your ship.
Mm-hmm.
And well, I think that's most of just what we had to discuss, all the news we had to cover and such.
All right.
Let's see if anyone had any questions out there. But
Shiva said I look scruffy. Yes, I am scruffy.
I fixed that just this morning. Otherwise, otherwise it's cold. Hey, it's going to get to be really cold up in Minnesota soon, so I'm going to have to actually let the scruff grow back in.
Are you into negative wind chill yet?
It's going to be tonight, yeah. They said tomorrow's high is going to be 1 degree, and that's going to be at 3 a.m. in the morning. Goes downhill from there.
I don't miss that at all. You can have it.
All right. So, folks, thank you for watching our Twitch program, catching us on YouTube. Again, we'll have another show second Saturday in January, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, as always. And we'll maybe have Memo come back after we find out what happened to him.
I'm stuck in the bathroom. Guys, come on, let me out.
Thanks, folks, and see you in the verse.